transformational in the lives of His people. And when we take this Word that is alive and active and put it into our life, we begin to experience intimacy with the Father that is life-changing. And that's what Jeremiah said. Jeremiah says not only does God have a plan for prosperity, He also has a desire for intimacy. And then the last thing that He says is, He tells us, He says, and then I will come to you and bring you back from captivity. I will come to you and bring you back from captivity. And as I was thinking of this last point, I wanted to talk about how not only does He have plans for prosperity and not only does He have a desire for intimacy, He offers to us as believers freedom from captivity. Now, obviously, we are not held captive by other people. Well, you can be, and I'll talk about it in a second, but not physically held captive by other people. But I have discovered that one of the things that is truly missing in the church today is freedom. Freedom. We get into legalism, and this is how you're supposed to live, and this is what you're supposed to do. And you know what God says? God says, man, I just want you to be free. I just want you to be free in me. Because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. I love David's response to his wife when he's walking around and he's dancing. And he's dancing in front of the ladies, and he's just excited, and he's just worshiping God. And she comes in and she says, you should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourself. And he said, ashamed of myself? I will become even more undignified than this for my God. You know, there has got to be freedom from captivity. I run into people all the time that have gone through difficulties in their life, and they become bitter, and they become angry. And my heart is to tell them, God wants you to be free this morning. Boy, don't let somebody else hold you captive because of what they've done to you. Let it go. Just let it go and be free. I see people that are addicted to different things in their life. I see people that are addicted to drugs. I used to teach Experiencing God at a treatment center up in East Texas, a little bitty town called Overton. And I probably taught it about at least 25 times to different groups. It was pretty cool because you had a captive audience, and if they signed up, they had to come. And so they were there, and their choices were go to treatment center or go to jail. So they would go to the treatment center. And I would see, and I would talk to them, and I would say, what is the rate of return to drugs once you leave this place? 75–80% of us are going to go back to drugs. What is the difference? What is it about the 20% that don't go back to drugs? They say those are those of us that truly embrace the relationship with Jesus Christ, because only He can set us free. Amen. And I want to tell you something. Jesus has come, and His very first message in the church was when He read from the book of Isaiah that said He has come to set the captives free. And God wants us to be free this morning. Are you really excited about your relationship with Jesus Christ? I am. Now I want to tell you, for a long time I lived in captivity. I lived under legalism. I lived under trying to please God. And I ended up just making everybody around me miserable because I was miserable. And a few years ago, God stepped into my life and truly set me free. It is so glorious to serve a God, to know that, yes, I'm going to fall, and yes, I'm going to make mistakes, but my relationship with you is not based on performance. It is based on intimacy, and I am responsible for the intimacy as long as I pray and read my Bible and do the disciplines of the Christian life. But I know this, that God has come to set us free. And there are people today in the church, and some of you today may be just like that. You're living in bondage. You're being held back from everything God wants you to be because of something that was done in your life. And you could say, oh, preacher, you just don't know. You just don't know what's been done to me. Well, I can tell you exactly the same thing. You have no idea what I have gone through. And I will tell you that if it was not for the grace of God and the love of a wonderful wife, that I could not be standing before you right now as your pastor or as a prospective pastor. I'm not trying to influence your vote in any way, understand that. But I could not be standing before you if it was not for that. So let's compare stories sometime. But I want to tell you that God that was able to set me free from the anger in my life, from the bitterness, from the disappointments, from the discouragements, from the depression. He is the same God that is here today to set you free. I ask you, or I prayed in the very beginning of this message, that you would not be listening to this message so that you could call me to be your pastor. Some of you this morning, you need to know God has a plan for your life. You may not understand it right now. You may not even see it clearly. But I want to tell you, you can still trust in the hands of the Master to guide you where He needs you to go. Some of you this morning, you just need to be intimate with God. Well, you be real honest. You're just going through the motions. I copied up this song. This is when I left the pulpit committee on Memorial Day. I was very quiet when I got into the truck, and Elaine knows one of two things when I'm quiet. Either I'm really thinking or I don't feel very good. And so I told God, I said, I tell you what I'm going to do. I just want you to reveal to me your plan. And I got into my truck and I turned on the Christian radio station, and I was very specific. I said, I want to hear this song. I don't want to go through the motions. I don't want to go one more day without your all-consuming passion inside of me. I don't want to spend my whole life asking, what if I had given everything instead of going through the motions? And I want to ask you this morning, or some of you this morning just going through the motions. There's not real intimacy in there. There's not real passion in your life. The relationship is not what it should be. Some of you just need to be free, and the very first step to freedom is entering into a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Not what you do, but what's done to you. If you're here today and you do not know Jesus, I know that at the age of 12, I was headed from Orange, Texas to Houston, Texas, and the bus broke down, and I thought that I had a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. No one had ever told me what I needed to do. And at that point, I stood up and told those young people, I am not going to heaven. And a guy named Gilbert McGuire made his way to the back of the bus, and he led me to Jesus Christ. I don't know where Gilbert is now, but I know that I stand before you because of what Gilbert was there to do to introduce me to Jesus Christ. And I want to let you know that the first thing, the very first step to being free is entering into a relationship with Jesus Christ. Some of you may be here this morning and you just need to recommit your life to the Lord. You may need to come and get on your knees at this altar and say, God, I want the passion. I want this intimacy. I want the excitement. I want the freedom. Some of you may need to come and just unite with this church because you know this is where God would have you to be. As I get ready to conclude, I noticed that you have a group back there called the ushers, greeters. I noticed the greeters pass out information about the church to those that are coming in. I would like to suggest that greeters, you go to, and y'all really need some more dollar stores around here. You go to one of the dollar stores and you buy just a whole box full of sunglasses. And when you hand them out to the people that are coming in and visiting, they're going to ask you, what is this for? And you can say, because the future at Sharpstown Baptist Church is so bright, you got to wear shades.